And with no ego, I'm going to tell you that I think, I'm pretty sure, it's the most life-transformative course that we offer with the journey. It's an 8-day course where you really look at the secret issues, the issues that you've hidden even from yourself, and uncover them and break through them. I'll show you roughly the approach we take here. I can show it to you diagrammatically. When we are born, spacious awareness is conceived and born into physical form. Spacious awareness that exists outside of birth. We know this from Source. Expansive, infinite, eternal presence. And something happens when that presence is conceived and born. And we make mistakes. We make mistakes, not I am. And when you asked, who am I earlier, you probably got to some spacious awareness. When you drop the labels, there's Source, or some version of Source. But we make a mistake. It's not I am Source, we'll call it. Consciousness, awareness. That's the truth. We make a mistake when we're born. And we make the mistake of I am the body. And we internalize our identity with physical form. All of our references become related to this mistake. I am the body. And it leads to a particular set of issues. Or for some of us, we are emotionally related. And so the limited sense of self is fused, cross-wired with emotions. And so the implicit belief is that I am the emotional flow that takes place in this physical form. Or third one, mind. I am the thinking process, the intellect, the words and pictures that stream through consciousness. And so we limit our sense of self to one of these three areas. One of these three areas becomes the core of our identity, and it sets up very, very specific issues that the ego then camouflages from us, that the ego hides from us. Because if we come back here and we go, okay, if I am the body, so if spacious awareness, if Source gets born and is contained into a physical form, it feels like a prison. It feels like you've been trapped. It feels like someone has taken something beautifully expansive and free and gone, there's your life sentence. You're trapped inside of a physical form. And it produces rage. And rage becomes, in one way or another, an essential core life issue. Either we need rage and we're triggered into feeling rage, or we get scared of the immensity of rage that we feel and we suppress it and put it to sleep. In any case, this becomes an existential issue that every single big trigger in life, first reaction is rage. It doesn't come, it doesn't go, it doesn't change. This is like automatic bump, bump, bump throughout life. Someone does something, you're pissed off. Someone bumps into you in the street, pissed off. Someone upsets you by looking at you the wrong way, pissed off. Now, it may come out, or it may get suppressed. The issue is still there. And if we've identified as a body, so okay, the implicit belief, and this is deeply unconscious, okay? This is something we're not normally consciously aware of. If we're identified with, what are we saying? You know, flesh, bone, skin, guts, the rest of it. We're animal, in other words. What are we afraid of in life? If my belief is I am the body, what am I going to be afraid of? Yeah, I'm in health, sure. If essentially, we're afraid of other animals, so we're afraid of harm coming to who I am, the body, so we're afraid of physical attack. We're afraid of weakness. We're afraid of vulnerability. We're afraid of aging. We're afraid of animal harm, physical annihilation. And so in order to survive, so it seems, we have issues with control. It's like, I must control everything in order to survive. So I have to control my own emotions. I have to control your emotions. I I have to control my own behavior, your behavior. I have to control the environment and everything that shows up in this environment. Now, normally we don't call it control. We call it responsibility because that's a much kinder word for control. So I'm just being responsible. But really, I'm trying to take charge. And again, the same way I said, rage can either come out or turn in. Control can either come out or turn in. So it can be expressed overtly or it can be suppressed covertly. So some of the games are really subtle here. But these issues become the theme in our life. And unless we really wake up to the ego patterns, you know, the work we do is scraping the surface and continuing to scrape the surface, and the real issues are still there. Down here, very different. Down here, prior to birth, sense of the bliss aspect of consciousness. It's called in Sanskrit ananda. And so the aspect of consciousness that is well-being, everything is right, at peace, and I'm feeling this kind of love, bliss aspect of Ananda. We're born, and what do we feel? Emotions. And emotions, are they all good? No. They rise, they fall, some are shitty, some are painful, some are blissful. But there's a feeling here that I've been kicked out of the nest, that I've been rejected, I've been punished, because why? Because now I'm feeling all these tumultuous emotions, and previously there was bliss. Previously there was a sense of peace and well-being. So the internalization is, I must have done something wrong or I must be bad in order to feel this way. And so here is a sense of the emotional condition here is essentially one of worthlessness or unworthiness. Worthlessness or unworthiness. And there comes with it also a sense of shame. Now, you know, we all feel sometimes worthless or unworthy. This is a theme here. This is an existential theme. It doesn't come, doesn't go. And alongside that, the game that we play is a control game here to compensate for this. Because if we admit that I'm worthless, if we admit that I'm unworthy, I don't exist. It's terrifying. It's like a life or death thing that we're facing here. And so what we do here is we play the game of image. And we, in various ways, create images of worth and lovability. So our whole game of life is a facade pretending that I'm worthy, pretending that I'm lovable, when my deep insecurity is that I'm not these things. And if I admitted this truth, I would die. So here, and again, external and internal. It can be anything from caretaking and doing everything for everyone else, pretending I don't have issues so I can put on an image of selfless lovability. Or it can be performance and achievement, and we get driven. We can't get off the wheel. We're completely work-absorbed. We can workaholics, like on a rat wheel. Can't get off the rat wheel. We exhaust ourselves, try to prove that we can achieve and therefore get some worth. Or the collapsed version here is a version of pretending that we're broken, flawed, and special so that we attract love into our lives. So the games are painful here. The games are life-destroying is the truth of it. And over here, the equivalent that we've got with mind, we were hanging out maybe in consciousness as wordless omniscience. We're just resting. Everything is right with being. And then we get born, we identify with the mind, we make this mistake. And if I'm the mind, how consistent is the mind? It's not. Mind can change its mind like this. It's not reliable. It will tell you whatever it needs to tell you to get to the next moment and the next moment and to keep you ostensibly safe. So internally, we're identifying with something that's fluid, something that's quicksilver, something that's not finite and keeps changing. And it creates fear and terror. So the emotional theme here doesn't come, doesn't go. It's in the background all the time. Why am I anxious? Why am I fearful? Why am I scared of everything in life? And then the strategies that come out of that, because I can't go here. My fear is that these emotions will be the undoing of me, and I need security, and I need to know. So I find security by needing to know. And again, this can play out in different ways. One need to know can be researching, needing to know the facts, almost like obsessively wanting to understand life, like we want to understand what makes the universe tick, understand the mind of God. And unless we do that, we're terrified. This point here, this version, we need to know the formula by which to to live life. It's like I've got to know the rules, I've got to know the structure, I've got to know how to be competent in life, I've got to know how to fit in, how to belong in order to be safe. Because I don't feel safe, I feel terrified. And there's another version which is denying that the fear is there. And so we tell jokes, we get active, in fact we get hyperactive, and we keep above the fear. We can sometimes drive over the fear by taking a lot of risk in life. So the extreme sportsmen and extreme sportswomen fit into this category, the adventurers, and they can't stop. They're wound up. Why? Because they're terrified. And because they need to stay above it. They need to it's like skating on thin ice. If I stop, I'm going to sink in. And if I sink in, there's terror. And my fear is that the terror is the end of me. And so there is a model with the No Ego Retreat where we take the masks off all these games and probably for the first time in our lives realize the pain that underpins our ego, and the destruction of the games, the self-destruction and destruction with relationships and others that we play with these games. This is 8 intense days. It's not for anyone who's half-hearted about doing this work. I've got to tell you that. It's for someone who goes, I want freedom. I'm done with the games. I came to that point, I told you on Friday night, when the depression got so bad, I just let go and said, I don't care what it takes. I don't even believe it's going to work. And whatever, I will do it. And I've been surrendered more or less in that place over the years, just going, this I'm done with. This is the facade. This is who you're not. This is the lie in life. And this creates all suffering in your life. All suffering. Now, pain is going to come and go in any life. Emotions are going to come and go. Sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it's blissful. But to turn pain into protracted suffering, it takes ego. And so our job here is really shattering the illusion of ego, because it's a complete lie, complete illusion. So it's the most powerful, transformative of the work we do, and it is an intense 8 days.